All right, so today we're going to be doing a deep dive on this really kind of funny and interesting story called Death Interrupted.
Okay.
You can find it online if you want to read along.
Yeah.
And it's basically about these two best friends, Maggie and Leela, who have a very interesting encounter with death himself.
Sounds intriguing.
Yes. And their reaction is not what you would expect at all.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to hear what happens.
Okay, so it's set up as this really tense situation.
Right.
They're out in the woods foraging for mushrooms,
Oh, okay.
and they come across death.
Makes sense.
But instead of begging for their lives or something,
Yeah.
they engage in this epic roast battle.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
It's pretty great.
Wow. So they're facing death with humor?
Yeah, basically. And it's brutal and hilarious.
I love it.
But hold on, before we even get to the roast battle,
Okay.
can we talk about how death is described?
Yes, please.
Because they say he's like George Clooney meets a skeleton.
Okay.
How am I supposed to feel about that?
Right? Like, is that supposed to be charming or terrifying or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a weird combo.
It's like you've got the Clooney charm, right?
Uh-huh.
Like debonair, maybe a little roguish, but then it's a skeleton?
It's like the universe is messing with us a little bit.
Right.
Throwing in a dash of Hollywood into, the ultimate symbol of our impermanence.
Exactly.
I mean, it definitely makes you think twice about how you'd react in that situation.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Death shows up. He's like, all right, I'm here for one of you.
Oh, God.
And instead of freaking out,
Yeah.
they just start roasting each other.
No way.
Like each one is trying to convince Death that the other one deserves to go.
That is brutal.
I know. And these women clearly know all of each other's deepest insecurities
Oh, I bet.
because the insults are savage.
Give me an example.
Okay, so Leela calls Maggie rusty gate knees at one point.
Ouch.
I know.
I feel like I need some Bengay just hearing that.
Right. And then Maggie gets her back by saying Leela snores like a chainsaw on steroids.
Oh, my.
It's intense.
That's amazing. I love it.
It's like they've been training for this their whole lives.
Right. Like their friendship is basically one long roast battle.
Pretty much. And some of the insults are just pure gold.
Oh, I bet. Like, what else do they say?
Well, at one point, Leela compares Maggie's hair to a dead possum.
Oh, no, she didn't.
Oh, she did.
That's cold.
It is. But then Maggie comes back with calling Leela a balding chicken.
Okay. I have to admit, that one's pretty funny.
Right.
I'm kind of impressed.
Yeah, it's a close call.
It is. I mean, who do you think wins the roast battle?
I don't know. It's tough.
Right.
What do you think?
I'm not sure. I mean, they both land some pretty solid blows.
Yeah.
I think we need to get our listeners in on this one.
Yeah, definitely head over to our social media and tell us who you think won the roast battle.
Yeah, and whose insults were the most creative.
Yes, and the most cutting.
We want to know all your thoughts.
So, okay, but here's where things get really interesting.
Okay, I'm listening.
Geth's reaction to this whole thing
Yeah.
is not what you'd expect at all.
So he doesn't get mad.
No, he's not offended. He's not annoyed. He's totally captivated.
What?
Yeah, like he's actually laughing at some points.
No way Death is laughing.
He is.
I mean, I guess if anyone could make Death laugh, it would be these two.
Right. And it makes you think about, how we deal with the heavy stuff in life.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like maybe humor is one of the best ways to deal with our own mortality.
Huh. It's like the story is saying that even in the face of death, a good laugh can be a form of defiance.
Exactly. It's a way to reclaim our humanity and joy, even when confronted with the ultimate unknown.
That's powerful.
It is. And it makes you wonder if maybe Death himself is drawn to that kind of energy.
Yeah, like maybe that's why he spares them in the end.
Right. Maybe their roast battle wasn't just about saving their own lives.
Okay.
Maybe it was about proving the value of laughter itself.
Whoa.
Yeah, like even death can't resist a good joke.
I love that.
Me too. It's a good reminder to not take ourselves too seriously.
Absolutely, and to appreciate the absurdity of it all.
Exactly. And to find the humor in even the darkest of situations.
Well said.
So what do you think?
I think this deep dive is already off to a fascinating start.
Me too.
Right.
I can't wait to see where it goes from here.
I'm ready for more. It really does make you think, huh?
Yeah, totally. Like maybe a good laugh is the best defense
Yep.
against existential dread.
Right, exactly. And it also makes you think about why death spares them.
Okay. Yeah, good point.
I mean, he says it's because they're wit and vibrancy
Yeah.
make the world a more entertaining place. So it's like he's acknowledging that their kind of chaos is actually valuable.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, like their roast battle wasn't just about survival. It was like a testament to the power of humor.
Wow. I like that a lot.
Yeah, me too.
It's like even death has to admit that laughter makes life worth living.
Exactly.
Okay, but speaking of sparks,
Yeah.
this story also makes you think about, like, friendship.
Okay, how so?
Well, they basically just tried to sacrifice each other to the Grim Reaper.
True, most friendships would not recover from that.
Right, that's a level of betrayal that's hard to come back from.
Exactly. But their friendship seems to thrive on it.
Huh, that's fascinating.
It is, right?
Like, what is it about their dynamic that allows them to be so brutal with each other?
Well, I think it's their honesty.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, they're always keeping it real, even if it means being totally savage.
I guess in a way, that kind of honesty could be a form of intimacy.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, they're not afraid to show each other their true selves, warts and all.
I see what you mean.
It's like they've created this space where they can just be completely themselves without judgment.
Yeah, and the way this story describes their reunion after death leaves is just perfect.
Oh, how sad.
Instead of, like, apologies or deep conversations,
Yeah.
they just go right back to roasting each other.
No way.
Yeah, Maggie's like, so a dead possum, huh?
Oh my God.
And Leo's like, right back at you, balding chicken.
I love it.
It's like the near-death experience just made their bond even stronger.
It's like their way of saying, hey, we went through something crazy together, but we're still here and we're still us.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes you wonder, is their roasting a sign of affection?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Like, is it their weird way of showing they care?
Or is it like masking some deeper insecurities?
That's an interesting thought.
Yeah, like maybe they're so afraid of being vulnerable with each other
Yeah.
that they use humor as a shield.
Right, to keep each other at a distance.
Exactly. But even with that possibility, there's no denying the strength of their connection.
Yeah, for sure.
They might not express it in conventional ways,
Uh,
but there's definitely a deep understanding between them.
Absolutely. And I think their dynamic challenges the idea of, like, what friendship is supposed to be.
How so?
Well, we're always told that good friends are supportive and, always complimenting each other.
Right.
But Maggie and Leela show us that sometimes the strongest bonds
Yeah.
are built on, like, roasting and shared absurdity.
That's a good point. It's like their friendship isn't about being nice all the time.
Right.
It's about accepting each other's flaws and laughing at the craziness of life together.
Exactly. And finding humor in the unexpected.
Yeah. And I think that's a valuable lesson for all of us.
Yeah, totally.
Like, it's okay to have friendships that are a little bit different, a little bit messy.
Yeah, as long as there's mutual respect and understanding.
Exactly what matters most is finding people who get you and who make you laugh.
And who can survive a roast battle with death.
Especially that.
Okay, but before we get too deep into friendship dynamics,
Yeah.
I want to go back to something you said earlier about how death spared them.
Oh, about their wit and vibrancy adding something to the world.
Right.
Yeah.
It made me think, like, what would I say to death if he showed up?
Ooh, good question.
Like, what would my argument be for why I deserve to stick around?
Right, like what makes your existence valuable?
Yeah,
The
exactly.
question everyone should ask themselves, I think.
Yeah, totally.
Like, if you were face to face with your own mortality, what would you say?
Would you beg for more time? Would you list your accomplishments?
Or would you try to make death laugh?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right.
Like, would you try to pull a Maggie and Layla?
It's a fascinating thought experiment.
It really is, Lizzie. It makes you think about what truly matters in life.
Yeah, what defines your legacy?
What makes you you?
And ultimately, what might persuade death to let you live another day?
Deep stuff.
It is, but I think it's worth pondering.
It really makes you think about what's important.
It does, right.
But, okay, enough about all that deep stuff for a second.
Okay.
Let's get back to Maggie and Leela.
All right, what happens to them after their encounter with death?
Well, so the story doesn't just end when death leaves.
Right.
They're left to, like, deal with the aftermath of it all.
Makes sense.
And, of course, each other.
Oh, yeah, they still have to deal with each other.
Exactly. And that's what makes the ending so perfect.
Oh, really? How so?
Right after death disappears, they just go right back to their usual banter.
No way.
Yeah, they're like trading the same roast battle insults as if nothing happened.
Wow, that's commitment.
Right? It's like this whole near-death experience just brought them even closer.
I guess it's like they say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Exactly. And they're walking away arm in arm, like vowing to never fight like that again.
That's sweet.
But of course, they immediately break that vow.
Of course they do.
They start arguing about mushroom recipes.
Typical.
Right?
It's like the author's telling us that some things never change.
Totally. And that's okay.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point.
What do you mean?
Well, this story isn't just about facing death with humor.
Right.
It's also about celebrating the power of friendship.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Like, their bond can withstand anything, even a roast battle with the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, they have that kind of friendship that can survive the most absurd and terrifying experiences.
Exactly. And I think that's pretty reassuring.
Yeah, in a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable, it's nice to know that those kinds of connections exist.
Totally. It reminds us that even when we face our deepest fears,
Yeah.
there are people who will be there for us.
People who will laugh with us or at us no matter what.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Death Interrupted, I'm left with this question for our listeners.
Okay.
Would you rather face death with fear and pleading,
Mm,
or with a well-placed insult and a hearty laugh?
that's a good one. It really makes you think about how you approach not just death,
Yeah.
but life itself.
Exactly. Do you cower in the face of the unknown?
Or do you embrace the absurdity, find the humor?
And the connection, even in the darkest of moments.
Maybe Maggie and Leela have stumbled upon a profound truth.
What's that?
That laughter, even in the face of death, can be a powerful affirmation of life.
I love that.
Me too. It's a message that reminds us to cherish our connections.
Embrace the ridiculous.
And never underestimate the power of a good laugh.
Well said. So if you're feeling brave, head over to our social media.
Yeah, tell us what you think of the story.
What insult would you hurl at death?
Or what argument would you make to stick around a little longer?
We'll be using the hashtag Death Interrupted.
So join the conversation and let's keep the laughter going.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning.
And keep those laughs coming.
And remember, death might be inevitable.
But a good roast battle.
Well, that's a story for the ages.